everyone, and welcome to robotics. What I'm going to cover today is kind of like one of my lesson ones. So this would be, I come into the classroom, we get our robots, and what do we do with them? So to start, what I like to show everybody is, this is the base robot, and at the end of the class, everyone should be well underway to having their first robot built. We will go over which different sensors we'll want to add later. For most of us for today, we're just going to go with the basic build. That does not include the medium motor or the touch sensor. So everything else here is what students will make. And to do that, students will come into the class and I will go through this kit first. So here we are, let's go through our kit. It comes with these two clips on top, and they're fantastic. And I like to tell everyone because students have dumped these numerous times, and some without these clips on. So these clips, there's one that has a little lip on the outside. That lip goes on the outside of your box, so it goes onto this side. So what you do when you're packing up your kit, or even once you kind of pull a few things out, you might want to lock it back up. Take your clip, you set it on top, the lip on the outside, and listen for this. That big snap, it means no matter what, the lid won't fall off and your thousands of pieces won't spill over the floor. So always have those clips on. Take your clips, set them aside. In your kit, what you'll have is take the lid off, and I'm going to show you exactly how I set up my kit to build. So as I take them out, I'll put them in the spots I like them. So the first thing on top you'll see is a toolbox guide. This is fantastic for helping students find the pieces that they need for each step of the build. So what I like to do is I like to set that right there, lean it against so you can sit and read it. Next thing that students will do is they'll pull out all their bits and parts and set them in front of that. So now when a student builds, they'll be sitting over there looking at their tools and their pieces, but when a student builds, it'll have a diagram of a part they need. They can look at this chart, and this chart relates exactly to where they sit in the toolkit. So students will have that. The next thing they'll have is their build book. So this build book goes through every step of the build with them, and then it also shows them how to add things like the medium motor and the different sensors. So we'll go through and do the basic build with this book. Things I really like to point out is that when you're building, it's going to ask you to pull out an axle of a size, and it'll be sizes 1 to 12. Now, the very back page of this has a scale for you. So if it says you need axle number 4, what you can do is go through the axle tool spot, and there's tons of different sizes of axles, and axles again is a straight piece that you can put wheels and circular things on for rotation. So here's your axle, plane, and so this one, I can even pull it up to the book and you can measure it to see exactly what number it is. This one is number 12, so I know I need a smaller one. So I go through and maybe this one's number 4, oh, this one's a number 5. And it shows that the number 4 is a black one, so I'm going to go through and look for a smaller black one than this, and there we have it. That's axle number 4. So I now know that I'm using the right axle. If you choose the wrong axle size, sometimes you have to go back and take your robot apart a bit, because the axle, sometimes if you put it in one that's too big, it won't go together properly. So always make sure you're using the right axle size. Use the guide on the back. The next thing that's in our toolkit is the brick. So this is the brains, the computer behind all of it, called a brick. It has ports for motors, ports for sensors. There's letters on this side, and those ports are for motors. There's numbers on this side, and they're for sensors. The other things you'll notice is there's a little round hole right down there. Well, once you turn this on, which I'll show you later, it will make sure low battery. So here's your charger in here as well if you need to charge it. What I recommend is while you start building, plug it in and charge it if it's a low battery, or in between classes or in between builds, plug it in your classroom and make sure it gets a full charge. Okay. The other thing that you'll see on here is a little port that says PC. And this one connects to this cable. This cable has a USB end. This goes into your computer when we start programming. And this is how your computer talks to this brick. You can do it through Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, but what we'll do is we just use it through this cable. So we'll program on a computer at a later date, and when we're ready to put the program onto our brick, we will plug it in and we will press download. It will make a beep beep noise. We can unplug it, and our programming, our coding is now on our brick. Okay. So that's our brick, the computer part. Also in your kit, you will find a medium motor. So that one we use for, I like to call it arms. All right, down there, that's a medium motor. You'll have two large motors. They almost look like little cars. These two large motors, you will put your wheels on them at a later date. So you have two wheels in here. So this goes together. And these wheels will attach at a later date to your motor with an axle. So you have two large motors. As well, inside you will have your cords, so that what these do is you will be instructed to plug one in to the back of the motor, and this will go into the brick. So it's a motor, so we put it in the letters. So just to show you, this will all go together with lots of Lego pieces. But this will sit under here. Now, once you download onto your program onto the brick, it will talk to the wheels and turn. So you will actually be able to drive your rover bot once you've fully built it. So these cables connect the motors to the brick so that the motor will turn the wheels and your rover bot can move. Another thing that students tend to run into is the battery. In here, there is a little battery casing. We don't use this one because we don't use batteries. We just use this, which is also part of it. So it's on the back. And this is a reusable, chargeable battery. We just use this for our build kits. It's already on your robot, so you don't need to worry about that part. Your battery's there, it just needs to make sure that it's charged. And then the rest of the things in your kit are different sensors. And we can get into sensors at a later date, but for now we just want to build our basic robot and get going with that. So that is your basic tool introduction for the kit. Once students have their kit explained to them, what we then do is we like to put these pieces back in so that we know none of them get lost. Keep this set up here, and students will start at the front of their build book. First instruction right here, number 1, it calls for a large motor and the larger blue connector piece. I don't actually know what the technical name is for this piece, so the larger blue one. And what I really recommend students do is, I'm going to come a little bit closer so you can see this. So with your build book, what I have students do is, if that picture right there shows the motor sitting like this, I ask that when you're building, hold your pieces exactly how they show you in the diagram. This will ensure that you're actually building your robot correctly. Many students have had to rebuild their robots because they put parts in the wrong side. So I highly recommend, if that's how your book is sitting, make sure you hold your robot pieces the exact same way and follow the green arrows that show where to slide in all Lego pieces. And then it goes on to step 2. Next, students are going to be working in partners. And when we work in partners, I want to make sure everybody gets the opportunity to learn how to read the book and the opportunity to build. So in a partnership, I recommend that each page or every 2 pages, when you turn the page, that you rotate jobs. So one person would be with the book, and they are looking for the different parts. And the partner B, is building the robot. So taking the parts, their partner who chose the pieces is letting them know, communicating with them where to put them. So together as a team, they're communicating, they're learning how to read the book, and one of the other people are learning how to build. And then just rotate that every couple pages so everybody gets a chance to do each role. And that is our first lesson. Students build.